Hello, 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 and welcome to today's episode of Her Version. This podcast is dedicated to sharing stories of struggle to triumph, a platform that allows individuals to tell their truth in order to inspire and uplift others. For those of you that are new to this podcast and like content like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button, follow, like, and share. I am your host, Sabrina Victoria. Let's jump right in. Hello, and thank you for joining us today for this episode of Her Version. The Her Version platform is built on storytelling and the understanding that many times our greatest learning experiences come from listening to other people's stories. Today, I'm speaking with an amazing woman named Natasha Palumbo. She is a creative leader with in-depth knowledge and expertise applying strategic business management, development of small business initiatives, and progressive leadership. She is a 5-time published author. All her books are available nationwide. She has taken her trauma and turned it into triumph. She went from welfare to wealth. Yes. Today, she fiercely and courageously shares her story of abuse, healing, freedom, and the ability to not only overcome, but to excel in all those she encounters. She has an innate ability to hold attention of those she trains and teaches. She has been serving at the homeless community since 2003, and she has a passion and a love for those whose society has labeled unimportant. Miss Palumbo is also the mother of 2 beautiful children, which above all is her proudest accomplishment. Welcome, Natasha. How are you, lady?
Good. How are you? Thank you so much for that beautiful introduction. I love your video. Fantastic.
Thank you.
So inspiring.
You are actually officially my 350th guest. So
Wow.
yes, we'll probably be
Yeah.
announcing this on LinkedIn together. So
Oh my
super
God. That's
cool.
outstanding. Kudos to you
Thank
and
you.
all 349 before us.
Yes.
It's been fantastic. That's an amazing impact.
Yes. It is hard work. People don't recognize how much work it is to run a podcast. It's a lot, but I just love the stories, and I so appreciate women like you who understand the mission, who understand the importance of sharing your backstory in order to inspire individuals who are in a dark spot right now. Sometimes we look at people like you and we're like, oh my gosh, 5 books. Oh my gosh, look at all this wonderful stuff that she's created for herself, and don't necessarily recognize that like there was a journey that you had to go on in order to get to where you are now.
Yeah.
And so I
And
so
there's
appreciate
still a journey.
yes. Yes. So thank you for being here. I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to sit down and share some of your some of your story with us, and kind of see where this flows. But the first question that I kind of want to ask, just to kind of dive into the deep end, is what story, that you've had from beginning till now changed your entire life, and what did you learn from it? I believe that we have like these big pivots that happen. So what would you deem as like the story that changed everything?
It's actually one that I reference to when I'm talking to people because it's one that actually made it kind of more understandable, all that I've been through, all the tragedies that, as you see, we're turning into triumph, right? Is the story of it, and it's one of my favorites to tell, right? These 2 spirits are in heaven and they're getting ready to come to earth, and they're getting ready to put their human suit on, and they're reviewing their contract and they're looking it over. And the one spirit says, oh my God, no, wait a minute. Did you see right here in this contract? Did you see? Oh my gosh, no, we can't sign it. Don't sign it. Did you see what I have to do to you? And the other spirit says, yeah, but I kept reading, and it got better. And it was part of my purpose And I need you to sign that contract because I know that even though you have to do that, I kept reading, keep reading, like, look, let me show you. And the other spirit said, no, I don't want to do this because you're going to forget. When we go into that earthly realm, you're going to forget and you're going to hate me for doing all these things. The other spirit says, no, please, because I read the contract all the way through and I saw that what I endured became my greatest purpose. And I have to endure this. So please sign the contract because it's part of our purpose. I will not hate you. I promise to keep this. And so they signed the contract. The other one does not want to sign it, but it does. They signed the contract and boom, in their time and place, they entered into the earthly realm and everything forgotten about the contract. Until one day, the one spirit in human form wearing the human glove hears the story of the two spirits in heaven before they come. And they have an epiphany that says, oh my gosh, wow, you know what? It was all for my good. I get it now. And then the revelation, like a scroll almost, the contract rolls out in front of the spirit human gloved in front and says, oh, look. So that's my favorite one of all, because when you endure so much, you question why. Like, why did this happen to me? Why? What is this? I don't have an understanding. And this gives me a greater understanding, again, that all things work to the good, that no matter what happens in this life, it is purposeful. You just have to continue on. You cannot succumb to it, right? You need to realize you signed this contract. We are all victims of victims, unfortunately. But this is a chosen generation who gets to break these curses now going forward. Just read your contract. It's available.
I love it. Did you say we're all victims?
We're victims of victims. We're all
Wait,
victims.
what does that mean? Explain what that means.
Well, we're victims of victims, right? So our lineage, we have about 7 to 10 years of trauma in our DNA. So it didn't start with us. And there's actually a book called that. It didn't start with you. And so we have generational trauma that's stored in our body. It's in our genetics that comes out, just comes out. But we are victims of people who were victimized. And there was not the tools or resources available to them like we do have now to be able to come forward. And they did not know or didn't have the courage to break out of their conditioning either. So they are deeply conditioned, and we're in a generation who is ripping condition off, and we're deciding no longer to pass down conditioning, but rather empowerment, right? And so that's the understanding, right? I have an understanding that my mom was deeply wounded, right? That my father, they come from, deep history of abuse too, right? Anger and alcohol and molestation, incest, all of those things. So of course, right? And they did the best they can. I think that when we seek understanding above anything. Let me just get to a place of understanding. Once you get to a place of understanding, you're able to actually deepen your healing, because you're no longer holding on to that which you don't understand. The understanding allows space. And yeah, victims of victims, 90% of us are victims of victims. Like we wear the human suit. We've all endured a little something. And that then comes out in the way you raise your child, the way that you conduct yourself in the workplace, the way that you are with your relationships, the way that you handle your time. Oh, it's so many facets, right?
Yeah, definitely. What would you say is a story of yours that's most relatable?
My own personal story that's most relatable. Wow, I think that I have all the relatability. I think that I don't need any more relatability. I told God one day, I don't know how much more you are expecting me to endure. And I heard as clear as day, I'm making you relatable. I said, I think we're relatable enough now, right? So, and that's why I do share my story. I think I relate in the fact that, I was molested for a decade from 3 to 13 by my maternal grandfather, right? That happens in the home, right? I was beaten by my son's father and thrown through a closet being pregnant. I think that's very relatable. I've stood in a food line to pick through moldy bread and rotten vegetables to feed my son, right? I've stood in county lines and almost sat in piss, excuse my language, while I'm waiting trying to get the little bit of help I can, right? I've battled with depression so severe that you just want to crumble up and die. I've held the dead version of the little girl in my hands until the weight was so heavy I couldn't carry it. You know, I mean, there's just, it goes on and on and on and on. And I realized that each of those little stories is not a perfect match for everyone, but enough to awaken them to healing, enough to give them a little inspiration and hope, because they desire the story of overcoming and freedom and healing and all of that exists as well on the other side.
What inside of you created the ability for you to keep going?
I refuse to be a statistic. I've been on my own since I was 16. I was a freshman in high school. I just was not going to be a statistic. That was just ingrained in me. And my faith in God really played a big part, and it continues to play a big part. Just having that, there's got to be something better. There's got to be something better than this. And a deep empathy for people that I had to, I just wanted to serve people like me, right? I just want to get to people and let them know we can do this, we can come through. It just has been this innate piece inside of me. I don't even know where I can pinpoint where it really has come from, other than it was part of the contract, the gifting of the contract, that I was given this gift of strength that I didn't know. You know, the song, You Didn't Know Your Own Strength, right? I love that song because it's so true. And I always had a desire to heal. And then my son came, and you know, when you have children, that's it. Game over. Not doing it no more, right? He really gave me a lot of drive to pursue, you know, like, you're not getting this baby, that's for sure.
Definitely. 100%. What do you think were one of the issues that I run into a lot is, talking to individuals, is they hear it, they understand it. They're like, okay, Natasha, good for you. I hear the story, good on you for doing all of the things. And it's hard to conceptualize how you got from moldy food lines to where you are now. If you could give somebody like the first couple of steps, like, what if they hear you, they're like, okay, I'm in, got it, I'm in. What do I do next? What's like the first step or two that somebody is supposed to take in order to start walking in a similar journey or path to get to a more bright future?
Yeah, I highly recommend education. Education has been the scaffolding of the metamorphosis of my life, really. I'm self-educated. I paid my own way through college. I have a master's degree. I'm the only one in my family to have that. I'm a college professor today, and I give back in that area. You don't have to be college educated. You can educate yourself through workshops and books, but knowledge is powerful. So education has been my saving grace. And it's what exposed me to greater networks and books, and expanded my mind. Resources appeared. And so I highly recommend education, like any little steps you can to broaden and deepen your mind. Controlled thought makes the most money. Poverty and oppression are extremely big business. We overall are surface thinkers and emotional creatures, so we're well controlled. So anytime you can break out of that mold, it's going to do you the best in this world and in this life. So education, your mental health is the most important. Therapy, I go to therapy regularly. I was just there. I do brain spotting. Therapy will change your life, but not just talk therapy. It has to be action-based, meaning it needs to be EMDR or brain spotting, sand tray, art. You have to move from the cognitive frontal lobe of your brain into the whole being, right, and into your body, and remove it, because your body keeps score. So you need to be able to do that with a trusted source. You need to realize that you have to throw up your trauma, and it's a process. You will not, this is not a quick fix. You're looking at a woman who has been on a 12-year journey, actually 13 years now, 13-year journey of in-depth, disgusting, throwing up, reliving, revisiting deep, dark traumas to regurgitate them out of my body, right, out of my soul, recovering my soul. 12 years of in-depth trauma therapy. So this isn't a quick fix. So no quick fix will do it. Don't go to a 6-week workshop. That's not going to do it, and think that's going to do it. It's not. It's a life journey. I still am on this life journey, and it can be discouraging. Please know. Yes, I see you. Please know. It's discouraging. I can get discouraged because I'm like, how much longer do I have to work? Like, oh my God, I still love a narcissist? Are you kidding me right now? Like, what's going on with that, right? Or I still can't see the beauty of who I am in that mirror. What's going on? I've worked so hard. So please know this. You know, podcasts are a lot of work. I started my own, right? And one of the things I just said on the most recent one, which is about limiting beliefs, is I still struggle today. As polished as I am, as well put together as I am, I still have to make it a daily practice to remove those limiting beliefs, right? So education, therapy, family, friend, or foe, family. Let's just hold family, friend, or foe. If they are toxic, they must go. You are the product of your environment. I am so sorry. And your family, you cannot always take with you because they will hate you to speak your truth. They will not like it. And you know what? They can hate you. It's okay. Because when you ascend and you pass on, they will thank you. That is all I can tell you. They will thank you for the work you're doing, that you're breaking the lineage, that you're breaking the curses, that you are resetting, you know, for your descendants to come to have, you know, they're going to have their own, okay? Patience with yourself and appreciation for where you have grown. That's where I'm so grateful. I see those comments. That's where I've fallen. That's where I really struggled. Is I am an overachiever. Any overachievers, right? Just tell me I'm an overachiever. Nothing is good enough because it's rooted in being enough, right? You have to own being enough, and that's really hard if you have any traumatic background whatsoever, especially sexual trauma, right? And being enough. So I'm overachieving. And then, you know, I get a degree. I can eat degrees. I can eat books. I can eat anything and never just rest and, oh, look, I got a degree. Okay, that's great. What's next? So it's also appreciating the work you've done and acknowledging how much you've grown and seeing that's so important. And it's a journey. It's a process. It takes time. Good circle, education, therapy, patience for self, appreciation, lots of prayer, knowing it all works to the good. The revelation of the contract, everything works to the good. Everything to the detail works to the good. I promise you, I'm a living witness. You don't, and nobody, I'll say this too, nobody's exempt of the crazy portal. Please understand this. Nobody. Every single human being goes through the crazy portal. What those who are empowered don't do is stay there. Just don't stay there. Just come back out. But nobody's exempt of it. Not one single human being is exempt of the crazy portal. But we don't stay there. You understand?
Yeah. When you say that sometimes you have to put some space between friends and family, what does that look like?
It looks like whatever you have to do. Honestly. Boundaries are to protect me, not to offend you. Okay? Not anyone. They are to protect me. Boundaries are to protect me, not to offend you. So if you're offended by my boundaries, that is your problem, not mine. Okay? And it is important that you set those boundaries. And it is important to your growth and evolution, which is over a lifetime, that you continue to honor those boundaries. It's one thing to set them, it's another to honor them, right? Honor those boundaries. for yourself and stand guard. So it means, I had to block my mom on Facebook because she was bullying me. I have to limit what I can say to my mom. I have to limit when I can call and interact. I have to end our phone conversation at a certain point. I have to sometimes drop the phone down so she can just talk and I cannot hear, right? But I can let her. I have an understanding of the wounded victim she is, and that unfortunately she will die with her demons, but I will not, nor will my descendants have to fight that battle, right? So we win. She wins through me. You understand? We unlock all the chains of the past, women, people, any lineage. So it's that. And it's then completely, with friends, you just got to say goodbye. There's a gift in goodbye, everyone. Okay. You got to just say goodbye. You will fulfill the void. Okay. The void will get filled. Don't worry. There will be a void. Yeah, there will be. Yeah. And we become addicted to sickness. We become addicted to dysfunctional behavior. We make it very functional, right? And you have to really know your addiction. You're addicted to the dysfunction. You've made it functional. We are actually very functioning, dysfunctional people.
Yeah. When you said she wins through you,
Absolutely.
I felt that. Can you expand on that a little bit more?
It's a DNA, right? Too. It's a final severing. It is understanding. I think I have a deep eternal understanding and perspective. I am not bound by time nor this human suit. When I am done with both of them, I will release them and they will no longer live, but I will, right? And because of this deep understanding, as complex and scary as it is, and hard for my human to always understand, I rest in that with my faith of God, which means I am connected, to my mother through that. All of that. I am her child. She carried me, brought me forward, right? Not only that, but I was her seed when she was a baby inside my grandmother. So I'm actually 3 generations deep. So there's your grandmother, there's the baby inside, which is your mom, and you're inside. Okay. So I am actually not only releasing my mom, I'm releasing my grandmother too, just from that portal alone, right? And it is in the mysteries of God that I rest in that teaching and belief that I don't have to know what that looks like, but I just trust in the work I'm doing that it will be done as it is in heaven, as it is on earth, right? Like that's where my faith anchors and deepens. And some things you won't have a real deep understanding of, but you will have a knowing. I don't know if that makes sense, but there will just be this deep knowing, and you don't have to have it figured out, right? She will see it when she crosses, is my belief, because I know, unfortunately, she won't get it here, right? Yeah, unfortunately.
When you were talking earlier, you said something to the effect of oppression is big business. Might be misquoting that, but can you explain? Because I don't even quite understand that.
Poverty and oppression are extremely big business. They make so much money for our very elite people in this world. It's definitely something that is very deeply ingrained. It's just a control metrics, basically. It makes a lot of money. Poor people make the big people a lot of money. Unfortunately, they can be controlled, they can be worked. Their labor can be very cheap, and they can build things for them. They can be used in different capacities. The more they can keep your mind controlled, the more they can manipulate your buying pattern. The more they can take your jobs and create, pull the value out of you to build them up. Yeah, poverty and oppression are very big business and still very big today. What we just went through within the last couple of years deepened us into deeper poverty and even more controlled oppression, unfortunately. And now we have to crawl ourselves out of that. And if our education system, unfortunately, is, I heard people say it's not broken. It's doing exactly what it was designed to do, which was to put people in mills, put people in, warehouses of sorts, right? And the mills have become warehouses, right? But it's, the bell rings, you go to class, you sit down, the bell rings, you have your break, you go to lunch, the bell rings, you sit back down. Here's the same, the bell rings, you clock in, the bell rings, you take your lunch, you see, it's all controlled, it's all very methodical in nature in the way that it's been programmed, right? Yeah. Economics was built as a scarcity tool. We really are abundant. There is unlimited to supply to us. We have divine birthright to wealth, and that was a big change for me as well, and really understanding and tapping into that and getting that and breaking free of the oppression and the poverty. It's a big mindset, because even when you have money, and I did gain money, I still lived in a survival mindset, and so it's tied to survival. And when you're in survival mindset, you do things that you wouldn't normally do, and you don't know how to really handle what does come for wealth, because you don't have the wealth conscious mindset. You're in survival. So then you're trying to get people to love you, and you're buying them gifts. And so they have all these beautiful gifts, and you have no furniture in your house, right? True story right here, right? You're setting on, 6 figures a year, and you have no living room furniture. And you don't get it until your dad comes to watch you graduate, because there's no place for him to sit. And of course that's, it took me a long time to realize that piece, but I was wanting somebody to love me, and so I could buy you gifts. And maybe if I bought you a gift, maybe if I did this for you, maybe if you just used me a little bit more because I'm so useful, you'll love me too. But no, wow. I just became more used.
Yeah, I can so relate to that, and I know a lot of people can relate to exactly what you just said. Definitely. What would you say is the number one lesson that you've learned about life?
Oh my God, you never know what's going on. No. The number one lesson, that's a good question. It's really what you make it, we create the world before us. It's our creation. So if you think negatively, you created that. And this is where it makes me deeply sad, because it's not by our own fault that we have limited beliefs, that we have fear-based thoughts. Any traumatic incident will throw you in there, and your brain is just trying to protect you. It doesn't want you to go get hurt again, and so you're going to fear. And then the world creates this fear, because our thoughts crystallize into form, and then it shapes our reality. And before you know it, you are still in despair, because, oh my God, that's what I think it's going to happen. And all of a sudden you just got attacked again, and all of a sudden you just did this again, and all of a sudden, oh, it's because it's here, and because when it's here, it becomes here. So it's the intentionality of life. Like, be intentional. I am 48 now, and I am so more intentional. My inspiration comes from women who are doing these amazing things, 50 and over, like Ivana. She's Fix Your Life, the queen of Fix Your Life. And she got honored for 50 and over. I said, I'm so inspired right now, because you can feel like you've lost a lot of your life. Right? And you have to remember that it all works to the good, and keep that encouragement. And so, though you suffered because it was necessary, now you get to see, right? Suffering is necessary until it's no longer necessary. And then you will see the most extraordinary life you could ever put your eyes on, far beyond your wild imagination. Like, that's what it means to have before you even ask, right? Because there is everything there's all the wealth you could ever imagine. There's all the experiences. You have so much more than a lifetime, right? It's just up to you to walk into that and be able to receive it is huge. So it's one thing to be intentional and to be like, yes, I know, I listen to these positive affirmations. I know you're addicted, aren't you? I know. But are you receiving it? Is it making movement in your life? Do you see? Are you having action behind it, right? So A lot of times, if you come with any sexual trauma, women particularly, right, that's our receptive. That's where we receive. So you will struggle with receiving, which I struggled with a long time and can still have, right? I'm a huge giver, love to give, right? But sometimes the receiving the gift of life and what it has for you can be a struggle. So my encouragement is hold the intention. You know, the greatest lesson with life is you get to create the reality around you, but are you willing to receive it?
Yeah, totally agree with that. At one point, you had said, oh, I'm trying to think now. Oh, that you're still working at it. We were
Yeah.
kind of joking and we were like, we've been through a journey and we're still going through that journey.
Oh, yeah.
I know that a lot of people can relate to that. In your opinion, using your own journey as a looking glass for this, when would you say a person can breathe
Hmm.
and know that they're good enough?
Oh, wow. That's a very good question. You need to breathe all the time. Actually, holding breath, a space for that for a moment. Breathing is your key, is your anxiety pill. It's your antidepressant, number one. So let's acknowledge that. Deep breathing, holding, releasing. We have the synapses in the brain. It creates a gap. This is what causes us to have, skips in our brain and anxiety. Breath is an antidepressant, and what it does is it fills the gap for us. Okay. So you're going to want to take possession of your breath back. Okay. You have all living God who breathed into you. You have the power. That's your breath. And this last couple of years was trying to take our breath away. There's a reason for that. There's a deep spiritual reason for that. Please understand. So your deep breathing is so important. And before you know it, you will be fully breath, right? It reminds, one of the things I related to this journey is the airport, the bathroom in the airport. Back in the day, you used to turn the knob. Well, they got wind of us being lazy and leaving the water on, right? And they said, no more of this, we're wasting water. Because the airports was one of the first places to get the automatic water, right? And now they have the automatic soap. This is what the journey of life is. You have to put your hands up under it for it to come on. The minute you take your hands out, the water no longer flows. So you have to put your hands up under it. You got to splash the water on your face. This is what self-love is. It's a daily practice of this water. Because the minute you pull your hands, it's set to cut off. Because it's realized you become lazy when you just turn it on and walk away, turn your back from it. So now it's automatic. But it requires your submission of hands underneath of it, right? So you have to put your hands up, and every day you're going to have to splash that water in your face. And you're going to, when you feel like it's not there, you're going to be like, oh, you know what's going on? The water's not on. I need to go put the water on. Let me just put my hands up. Let me just put my hands up. Let me just put my hands, right? I need to go get the water. Where's the water? We have living water that comes from us. Where's the water? Go get the water, right? And knowing that it will take you a long journey. I still, 12 years in, can struggle with not feeling enough, right? I can still struggle. And this raw transparency we need more of, because you don't just get delivered demon free, okay? Listen, it doesn't just happen. Stop it already. It's not getting true healing to our people that need it, because it is a journey, because they're going to want to give up because it didn't happen right now. Why didn't it happen? I did it. I took the damn gummies, the ACV gummies, the apple cider vinegar, and why didn't my gut go down? I took them. No, because it doesn't work like that. There's other, right, pieces to it. Success is not a secret, it's a system, right? And you have to stop trying to mimic other systems and being envious of other systems, and create your own off of examples and knowledge and power and different classes and therapy and tools that you get. Then you master your own system, and before you have success. But you do get to a point where you cope better. your coping skills are stronger is what happened. But you have to acknowledge the crazy portal at any moment will pop up. Grief is one hell of a roller coaster to ride, and you never know when it will pull you back to shore, right? Pull you back out into the sea on its waves, and then it is commanded to place you back on shore and walk again. Just don't forget that the tide rolls in and out, right? Don't forget that piece. And you become stronger in your coping mechanisms, right? I believe in evolution and growth over a lifetime, right? That we do become, obviously, I am living product of it, but I'm still a mastery work in progress too.
Definitely. I want to take a moment just to acknowledge those watching us live. Thank you so much for being here and hanging out with us. For those of you watching on the replay, make sure you hashtag replay so that we know where you are and we can send you some love. But I want to ask Natasha, what is your business? How do you help all the humans?
I have a lot of things. I don't tell everybody what I do because they'll be like, there's no way, see, because it's never enough. I do too much. Anyways, but that's okay. So I own a legal and medical copy service that I have owned for 20 years. It specializes in Social Security and disability law records. So I have predominantly been in the business of helping disabled people get their rightful benefits with Social Security. That's been my predominant business. That business I was an employee of, and I was a welfare mom, and I was a faithful employee. So let this encourage you, be a faithful employee, because you never know. You might become the owner. They may just give it to you. And that's what happened with me, is that the man gave me the business on a 2-year payment plan. So I grew that business very extensively, and it allowed me to do other things. Today, I still have it, right? 20 years in. I am a contractor. I do workforce development work. I particularly work with sex trafficked women, homeless women. I work with our shelters locally, getting them trainings, essential skills trainings, life skills trainings, and also specific technical training to help them in the industries, with a focus right now of manufacturing. I have been serving the homeless for a very long time, and I do a quarter once an outreach, and I have one coming up in November. I am a college professor. I teach at Sacramento State College, as well as some of the outlining community colleges. I teach business, entrepreneurship, ethics, which is a fun class, business communication. And my main focus is working with minority women and displaced women and small business owners locally. My books, 4 of them are entrepreneurship. 1 is empowerment. And I do a lot of empowerment workshops. I really feel very honored and honored to be able to lead the way to the healing for women. We are deeply wounded, and that's a wounded mother issue, which is a whole nother topic for you one another day. But the wounded mother, and I had 2, stepmom and a mom, and I really feel honored in leading the way with women in holding a healing space and sisterhood. And I love people very, very deeply. I'm extremely prophetic and have to kind of protect myself, but I'll give you, any divine message that I can, and according to the will of God. And I'm a mom of 2, right? And podcaster, coach, all those good stuff. That's me in a nutshell. I love everything I do. I love to be able to share the story of empowerment, to share it and where we come from, the trauma, the tragedy, and showcasing the triumph and how we can sustain here and grow from here, right? Freedom and healing come in pieces. And today I pray all of you who have listened to us here now or on the replay received a little piece today. And remember, it's all part of your beautiful puzzle, which one day will turn into this amazing tapestry that you will wrap around you, cloaked in glory. And may you continue to rest well there. So.
I love that. Absolutely. What a great visual. Where can people find you on social media?
So I am on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Natasha M, as in Marquita Palumbo. Somebody else has my name out there. Natasha Palumbo. I mean, it's her name too, I guess. Anyway, so you have to put the M in there, Natasha M. Palumbo. I also am at natashapalumbo.com is my website. You can find me there. Anybody is welcome to reach out. I do reach out with me if you want to connect with me. I love to connect. My podcast is Professor P's Podcast. Professor P's Online School. I have an online school. I teach people how to write and publish their books. One of the things. And yeah, that's where you can find me out there. It's all Natasha M. Palumbo.
What are your big dreams for your business?
Oh, wow. My big dreams are, I am your next top speaker in the world. I am her. She is on the rise. Thank you. That journey is unfolding. It's a beautiful journey to unfold. I will write and publish about 28 books in my lifetime that will be very instrumental to women, men, children. My dreams are to continue to be honorable to what God has called for me in my life, and to allow the divine to use me in such a mighty way, and enjoy the ride along the way. That's kind of it. Top speaker. I am your ER doctor. I stop your bleeding, and then I send you on to your care physician. So hopefully today I stopped a little bleeding and you'll be ready to connect.
I love it. I love that you're saying on the rise speaker. I remember part of the journey that I'm on, and connecting so many women together and giving them a stage is because when I was going through my journey, my dark spots, I remember specifically Googling top inspirational speakers in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to go through about 50 men
Mm-hmm.
before finding a woman
Mm-hmm.
that I could relate to, or
Mm-hmm.
woman at all. And now I know it's a little bit different. Now there's a
Mm-hmm.
few up there,
Mm-hmm.
probably the top 20, but still not top 10.
No.
And I remember specifically, I Googled it probably 10 to 15 times at that point in my life, just searching for a female voice and being so frustrated with
Mm-hmm.
how am I supposed to rise as a female
Mm-hmm.
in a dominating industry
Mm-hmm.
or realm when the man I am living with is dominating me. Like, it didn't make any sense on how I'm supposed to do that. So I said way back then, like 15 years ago or whatever that is now, maybe almost 20 years ago, not quite 20 years ago, an intention of I am going to, I don't even know how. I didn't know any of what I know now, nothing. I am going to somehow create an atmosphere to help women rise.
Mm-hmm.
And that's part of my thought process with creating this podcast, is giving women the ability to be able to have some sort of a stage to start out with, in order to get them to recognize how important it is to share their story and get onto a stage in order to inspire others. So I love that. That just like brought me so much joy to know that, like, that's in your journey. Like, you are doing,
yes.
You're here.
100%.
You're the 350th female on my podcast.
Yes. Yes.
How aligned is that?
It's so, I love alignment, and I love a couple of points that you said there too so much. I love, first of all, confirmation, just back to that piece, to now have this moment here, which already existed, because please know everything does, but that indeed it is hard for us not to have that example. And we have been, again, driven by male domination. And I want all of my ladies to be encouraged. Don't build your business like men. Don't work this land. Don't work your job like a man. Operating in your feminine essence is your greatest power of all. I was very masculine driven in my former days because of protecting myself. And do will take you very far, my friends, but never as far as be. Be amazing, be bold, be outspoken, share your story, because there is a person in the valley that's waiting for you to come down and walk up with them. You see what I'm saying? And so today I'm so grateful, but indeed, yes, that is the journey. That is what God spoke over my life. And finally, a couple years ago, in the middle of the park, I had it out with God. I said, okay, fine, let's go. Let's do it. And so I've been speaking on platforms since, and tracking the journey and paying attention to, what the next step is. And I'll see you at the top, my dear, right? I'll see you at the top.
Oh, I love it. That just warms my heart so much.
Yeah.
Why do you do what you do?
Oh, because my children are a big why. My son, my daughter, they're my baby. I lost a baby, and she's a big why. My granddaughter who passed, those are my whys. Why do I do that? Why? The other why, because you can't count me out, and you should not sleep on me. Everything I will show you will work to the good. It's not going to win. I refuse to let that win. I refuse. I will endure the pain and separation and anger of my family to watch them clap for me on the other side, and thank me. I will wait for that, and I will endure whatever I have to hear to know I am doing what I'm supposed to do and what I signed my contract to do for my descendants. And again, that there is somebody waiting in the valley. I tell this to people all the time, and I genuinely mean this. Just for one person, I would suffer all over again. I would endure all of it. And I don't negate any of it, like I said, because suffering is necessary until it's no longer necessary. But for one person, it's still worth it to me, because that's a soul saved, just one soul. But I have seen seas of people coming my way, and I have already touched and been able to activate hundreds of thousands of people. And I see millions upon millions still yet to come, where I've literally ripped them out of the ocean of despair and pulled them onto the shore of safety, and they began to walk again. There's no greater why than the freeing of souls that are captive, because with every one that I free, 10 to 7 generations are trapped and ankled by chains right at their ankle, right? And I get to break that. So we're talking massive amounts of releasing of souls. So it's a beautiful calling, and you fight for it. It's not easy, right? But it's worth it.
It is. It is.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have somebody here that's kind of asking a question? I know you said locally. I wish you worked with international Canada.
Yeah, well, I do. I have clients in the UK. I have clients all over Australia. I have pictures of my books next to kangaroos in Australia. It's one of my favorite pictures of all. Anyways, but you're welcome to reach out to me. I actually have several clients in Canada too. So yeah, reach out and connect with me and see. I mean, I'm not there, but the virtual world allows us to work everywhere, and I do have. I have several clients in Australia, a few in the UK, and about 2 or 3 in Canada. So yeah, reach out.
I love it. I love it. That's awesome. Well, I so appreciate you being here, Natasha, and sharing some of your journey and everything goodness that is you. Any closing thoughts before we wrap up?
Well, I want to just share my gratitude for your suffering that you endured so that you could set this stage, and you honoring your contract, because it wasn't easy. Suffering is not easy. Going through what we do is not easy. The remnants and the muscle memory that we still live with is not easy, right? And it's still there. So kudos to you, because what you've done is created this massive movement here. And at number 350, the number of 8, as it boils down to, is the number of new beginnings. So bless you on the next step, right? That will lead you to the next level, because steps are required, but the level is there. So I see it as a old ceiling that's going to become a new floor for you as you rise
Oh, I
up. So
love that.
thank you for allowing me to be that transitional piece for you as you begin now to level up to another, and that you are prophetically, I speak that your microphone is going to expand and your voice will create an even deeper ripple effect. I speak a blessing over everyone listening, that you will be inspired today to take actionable steps and to not give up, right? That you will feel the activation that hopefully you all felt a little of my elixir, and that is the energetic power. And remember, no survivor's remorse. You are to save yourself, no survivor's remorse. It is up to each individual to save themselves. Nobody is coming to save us but ourselves.
Yeah.
Rise within, conquer within, and then allow people to see how you've done that. Show them your system, encourage them in their own, but no survivor's remorse. You got out for a reason, and when you're ready, you'll go back in, but only to help set them free. So kudos to you for going back in and helping set us free and giving us a platform and a stage, and allowing us to share in this journey with you of your own pathway upward.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate you so much.
Thank you.
For those of you listening live, for those of you watching on the replay, if you resonated with anything that Natasha shared today, make sure you reach out to her. Social media, LinkedIn, Natasha M. Palumbo, Facebook, and her website, natashapalumbo.com. The links are in the description, so feel free just to kind of scroll and click and reach out to her, direct message, or through her website, social media. Her version is all about connecting and helping all of us rise. So thank you so much for joining us here on Her Version. This community is expanding every single day and is filled with females who are striving to do better than they did yesterday. For those of you that are new to this podcast and like content like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button, follow, like, and share. If you have an amazing story to share, make sure to reach out to me here or at hernation.life. I am your host, Sabrina Victoria, and I'm so grateful to be here sharing a platform that allows people to share their truth and inspire others. As